Over half a century after pay discrimination became illegal in the United States, a persistent pay gap between men and women continues to hurt our nation's workers and our national economy. The gender wage gap refers to the differences in earnings between men and women employees. The gender pay gap is a social problem in the United States that affects millions of women each year. In the United States, women hold more higher education degrees than men at nearly 2/3, yet women who work full time in the United States are paid 82 cents to every dollar earned by men. Adding race as a factor, African American women earn 61 cents to every dollar, and Latina women come in at 54 cents to every dollar earned by men. Work done by women is consistently undervalued. Occupational segregation exists in that jobs that are female dominated are paid lower salaries than jobs that are male dominated, even if the job requires the same level of skill, education, and training. Women working in lower paying jobs typically receive no benefits, and in 2012 alone, over 19 million women had no health insurance. In 2011, there were approximately 58.1% of women in the labor force, and out of 158 million women, 85 million of those women were mothers. So employers are less likely to hire women who have children, and this is known as the motherhood penalty. In addition, employees who are mothers are offered lower salaries and few promotions. I work with a client who's been searching for a job for months, and she cannot find a job. She's on TANF, and she cannot, in jobs that she's received, she's had to decline them because of childcare issues. So we see that the motherhood penalty is real, it's alive, it's active. In addition to employees who are mothers and the lower salaries and fewer promotions they're offered, fathers make actually 119% of what men without children make, which is known as the fatherhood bonus. Quality childcare is an issue working mothers face. And although there are some countries, such as Great Britain, that provide a subsidy for childcare for working mothers, the United States is not a country that offers such a program. For a single mother, the monthly average income in 2011 was $2,120. In 2011, in addition, 26% of that monthly income was spent on childcare. So simple math will tell us that that leaves a single mother raising her child alone with only $1,569 per month, and the rest of her expenses have to come out of that low amount. So we can see even with that poverty, childhood poverty goes hand in hand with the gender pay gap. Mothers who are single mothers, and that number is rising as the years go on. The child depends upon what the mother brings into the household. So if a mother has one child or multiple, that's going to cause additional issues with children being able to be fed, the mother being able to be fed, roofs being able to be kept over heads, and the like. This gender pay gap also negatively affects our economy, because if money's not going out, it's not coming back in. So mothers and women who do not make what they deserve to make, it makes for a lack of money circulating within our economy. And then there's also retirement concerns for women. So as we know, the more money that you make, the more money you can afford to save for retirement or savings, emergency fund, things of that nature. However, when you are not making a lot of money, every cent just about is accounted for. And so it is hard to pull that money out of your account for savings and retirement when you just don't have it. As it pertains to some historical ideologies that have influenced the extent to which America has treated the gender pay gap, The two ideologies are upward mobility and equal opportunity. Both of these ideologies are connected. So the upward mobility ideology is that it is possible to move up from the economic ladder if you work hard. So there's examples of two men that are John Rockefeller and Andrew Carnegie. And these men are the ones who pulled themselves up by their bootstraps. And, they came from poor families, but they just worked really hard. And in working hard, they were able to get themselves out of poverty and into economic success. And then we also have the ideology that the equal opportunity, which is also false ideology, that everyone starts off in the race to prosperity and economic success at the same place. So if we're at a race, everybody's starting off at the same level of that starting point. And then everyone has equal footing. People believe in the 19th century, it started, the determining factor of economic success was hard work. So whatever your work ethic was is what is going to determine if you are able to be an economic success. And then it also changed to merit. But both of these ideologies, both the upward mobility and the equal opportunity, are myths for oppressed groups, including women, in that women were not even considered as economic competition to men. And so when these rules, similar to race relations, when these rules were created, they were not created, or these ideas were created, they were not created with women or other oppressed groups in mind. It was created for men. And so these ideas that if you work hard, you will be successful. It's proven that that's not true, especially when it pertains to the gender pay gap, because women are working hard. Women are getting college educated. Women are leading, their families, and, both professionally and personally, they're leaders, yet they're not given these opportunities to grow or to advance. And there's a lot of barriers that they have to overcome in order to get to that success. And part of those barriers to overcome come from social workers who are social justice mission based, and those who see and seek out these problems and combat them with policy. And so as a social worker, a future social worker with a social justice mission in mind, it is important that both law, programs, and budget allocations are considered to address the social problem of the gender pay gap. And so I do believe that in regard to law, that the Equal Pay Act that is in place now should be strengthened. And currently this act states that men and women in the same workplace should be given equal pay for equal work. The jobs need not be identical, but they must be substantially equal. Job content, not job titles, determines whether jobs are substantially equal. And so, in order to strengthen this policy, employers should not be allowed to rely on prior salary history in hiring and compensation decisions. So, when they do this, it actually enables pay decisions that could have been influenced by discrimination or discriminatory practices to follow women from job to job. So if a woman is qualified to do a job and it's the same job as a man is doing, she should be paid equally to what he's being paid. An employer should not look back and see that she made $40,000 in her last position and she was being underpaid for that. And now they feel that she should just make 40,000 at this new position, even though she's doing the same work that her male counterpart is doing. The other piece of this is for programs and budget allocations. So monies should be budgeted to make space for children and for childcare and caregiver credits. So, one of the biggest obstacles, as mentioned previously at the beginning of this conversation, is that one of the biggest obstacles for women who are mothers is childcare, finding quality childcare. As I mentioned, a client of mine has had to decline several jobs because her job that she was applying for cannot accommodate her schedule for her childcare. In addition to that, if you're making $12 an hour, or $15 an hour, it's hard to pay for adequate childcare. Some people do not have families that they can lean on to take care of their children while they work. So it would be a great policy program, budget allocation to create these spaces for women to receive a childcare allowance, so that they can make it to work. So they have a desire to go to work. They need to go to work. And in order to go to work, a barrier is childcare. So by providing a credit, or an allowance, maybe in the benefits packages of, um, a new employee, is to provide that, or to even partner up with a childcare provider in the community, and then use some of that money, that government money that's been allocated, to pay for that benefit. And so this, again, is the gender pay gap social problem. And thank you so much for your time.